Hello children, in this video we will be doing fourth chapter in geography, that is structure of ocean floor. So children, in this chapter we will be learning about the different landforms that are found under the water. Like as we have different landforms like the mountains, plateaus, plains in the surface of the earth, similarly we have landforms under the water or ocean. Like you can see in the picture, we have different landforms like the continental shelf, slope, then the abyssal plains, then the trench. So all of these we will be learning about in detail in the lesson. So children, the land that is submerged or that is under the ocean or water is called as the ocean floor. Okay, and the relief of ocean floor is decided or it is being measured upon the depth, okay, how deep the ocean or the sea is or the sea floor is. The average depth of the oceans is around 3,700 meters. The ocean bed is also uneven, like as we have the mountains and the plateaus and the plains on the surface of the earth. In the similar way, in the oceans also, the landforms that are found are uneven. Some are very high, some are low, some are flat. The ocean floor reliefs consist of submerged landforms. Okay, there are many landforms that are under the water. The structure of the ocean floor differs from ocean to ocean. That means if in the Indian Ocean we have some kind of landforms, there will be different type of landforms in the Pacific or the Atlantic or the Arctic Ocean. We will look into these kind of landforms, okay, which I just mentioned about, like the shelf, the slope and the abyssal plains. We will learn about it in detail in this lesson. The first one is the continental shelf. So children, the land near the coast and that is submerged. Submerged means that is under the sea or water is called the continental shelf. This is the shallowest part of the ocean bed. That means this continental shelf is not deep. It is very shallow. You cannot drown inside that water or that landform. It is also called as the submerged coastland. Its slope is gentle. That means it's not that slopey. It is very gentle. You can see that in the picture. That is a continental shelf. The extent of the continental shelf is not uniform. That means whatever the length of this landform or the shelf is, it's not similar everywhere. It is some places it is deeper, some places it is gentle, and it is narrow along the coast, while it is broad for hundreds of kilometers. Normally the depth of the continental shelf is up to 200 meters below the sea level. The continental shelf is very important, okay? It is very important for humans. When it comes to humans, there is a lot of use of this continental shelf because most of the fishing grounds, okay, we do fishing, human beings do fishings. So these fishing grounds are mostly found in the continental shelves because many fishes are being found there. As this part is shallow, okay, it is not that deep, and the sunlight reaches to the bed of this particular place, there are many aquatic plants that grow here like algae, plankton. This is the food for the fish. Now because algae and plankton grow there, so this acts as a food to the fish, because of which there are many fishes that are attracted towards this food and they come and feed there. And that is why there is a lot of fishing going on in that place, that is a continental shelf. There, apart from all these things, there is also natural gas that is available in this place. Natural gas, mineral oil and various minerals can be found in this place. Okay, that is a continental shelf. So in the picture you can see we have Mumbai High located on the continental shelf in the Arabian Sea. So at this place in Mumbai High, there is a lot of minerals or natural gas that is extracted from the place. And also in the next picture you can see in the continental shelf there is a lot of fishes that are available, because of which there is a lot of fishing that takes place in these kind of areas. Next is the continental slope. So after the continental shelf is over, okay, after the part of continental shelf is over, we get the continental slope in the water, okay, under the water. This is the landform. Now the slope of the seabed becomes steep, okay. As we saw in the continental shelf, it was very gentle, okay, it was not that slopey, but the continental slope is very steep. So this is called as the continental slope. The depth of the slope is from 200 meter to 3600 meters. In some places it is more, that means it can be more than 3600 meters, but mostly it is around 200 to 3600 meters. Now children, this continental slope is narrow, it is not broad, okay. The lower boundary of this continental slope is considered to be the boundary of the continent. The continents that are there, okay, we have so many continents. So this continental slope is considered to be the boundary of all the continents. Next is the abyssal plains. You can see that in the second picture. So children, beyond, that is after the continental shelf, we had the continental slope. So similarly, after the continental slope, we can see the abyssal plains. So these landforms are flat part of the seabed, as we have plains on the surface of the earth. Similarly, under the water, we have flat lands, which is called as the abyssal plains. The abyssal plains consist of various submerged landforms, okay. So along with the flat land, it also has different landforms like the hills, plateaus, etc. Next children, we will be doing the mountain ranges and the plateaus, that is along with the abyssal plains. That means first we have the plain land, and then just beside it we will be having the mountain ranges and the plateaus under the water. Now children, the hills and the mountains that are found in the ocean are called submerged hills or mountains, okay. Now these hills are hundreds of kilometers wide and thousands of kilometers long, as we have the mountains and hills on the land, okay, like the Mount Everest, then the Aravallis in India. Similarly, there are many hills and mountains that are found under the oceans, and they are hundreds and thousands of kilometers wide and long. The peaks of some of these submerged hills can be seen above the sea level. There are certain hills and mountains that are under the water. The peak of that mountain or hill is visible from the water. We can see that peak from above. Now these visible part is called as the marine islands. So most of the islands that are there in the world, okay, most of the islands that we see on the map are mostly marine islands. That means it is a big mountain and only the top part of the mountain is visible to us from the top, okay, from the sea level we can see it. So that part of the hill is called as a marine island. For example, we have one marine island in the Atlantic Ocean that is called as the Iceland. You can see that in the picture. This is also a marine island in the Atlantic Ocean, that is Iceland. Similarly, in India also we have some islands like the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which is in the Bay of Bengal. They are also the examples of marine islands. The summit of some marine islands are flat. Summit means what? The top part, okay? The peak that is there of some of the marine islands are flat and extensive. Extensive means very vast. So that is why, there are so many islands in which people live. They build their houses, there are roads. So some of these marine islands are not, pointy. They are flat. Many of them are flat, because of which there are many human beings who civilize on those islands. Now, they are called as the oceanic or submarine plateaus. So, children, the marine islands that are flat and extensive, okay, those kind of islands are called as the oceanic or submarine plateaus because they are flat on top. For example, we have Chagos Plateau in the Indian Ocean. You can see that in the picture. Now children, we will do marine deeps and marine trenches. Now we saw so many different landforms. This is also a landform that is found under the ocean. Now on the ocean bed, there are some landforms which are very deep and narrow and steep. Okay, so you might have heard about the Mariana Trench, right? Which is the deepest trench in the world. So that also is there a part of this landform. Now children, these kind of landforms that are deep and narrow and steep, they are called as the marine deeps, okay, or trenches. But children, generally the ones which are not that deep, okay, which are in normal, they are not that deep or they are shallower, they are called as the marine deeps, okay, which are not very deep. There are many trenches and deeps in the ocean, but the ones which are shallower are called as the marine deeps, and the other ones which are very very deep, very slopy, they are called as the marine trenches. The trenches are thousands of meters deep from the sea level. Okay, if you go to measure it, they are very very deep, the trenches, whereas the deeps are not that, okay, not that deep into the ocean. So similarly, as I told you earlier, the Mariana Trench that is located in the Pacific Ocean is the deepest trench in the world. Okay, there are many oceanographists and many people who are doing research have still not reached at the end of that trench. It is very deep and the depth of it is around 11,034 meters deep. Okay, it is that deep. The mid-oceanic submerged hills, okay, the hills that are in the mid-oceanic submerged hills and the marine trenches are geologically the most active areas. Means these kind of hills and the marine trenches, in these places we can find many active areas where we can find volcanoes, okay, active volcanoes, and it can also be that where earthquakes begin. Okay, there are many volcanoes that are found in these mid-oceanic submerged hills and also the marine trenches. So in the world, most of these active volcanoes that are under the water are found here. Now, earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occurring in the ocean bed give rise to the tsunamis that we see. Okay, that is the huge waves that get generated. So most of these tsunamis are generated because of the earthquakes and the volcanoes that occur in the ocean. Now children, next we have the marine deposition. Now children, what is deposition? Deposition means all the material or all the things that water carry along with it. So children, the marine beds are the deep parts of the world in respective regions. Hence, various deposits are found in these parts. The deposits are as follows. So what kind of deposits do we find which are being deposited by the rivers, seas, oceans or any other water body? They are pebbles, clay, soil, etc. that are carried by rivers, glaciers or lakes or any other water body that move from one place to another, from continents to continents. The deposition occurs mainly on the continental shelf. These are called as the marine deposits. So these kind of depositions, like which bring in clay, soil, pebbles, so these kind of depositions mostly occur in the continental shelf, that is a shallow part of the coast. Now these kind of depositions are called as what, children? It is called as the marine deposits. Lava and ash that gets erupted from the volcanic eruptions are found here. Most of it are found here, and fine soil particles are deposited on a large scale. Remains of marine plants, animals are mixed in these deposits. So children, what happens is that, all the dead plants or the remains of animals, all of it gets mixed together. Okay, so all this mixture is made up of fine tiny particles and they lie in the form of clay. It becomes very clay type. So when they get mixed, that is the remains of the dead plants and remains of the dead animals, they get decomposed and form into clay. Okay, due to which we get different type of minerals or natural gas. This is around 30% of the deposits. Okay, so most of these deposits around calculates around 30% of the deposits. And these deposits, okay, that is the remains of the dead animals and plants and that get mixed around and turn into clay, they are called as the marine oozes. OOZES. To understand the form of marine life in the ocean and the availability of minerals in the ocean bed, these deposits are very important. So the people who study the ocean and the animals or the aquatic animals living into it, it is very necessary for us to learn about all the depositions. It may be dead plants, dead animals, clay, soil, pebble. We need to know all these things in order to understand the aquatic world. Now children, sedimentary rocks are formed due to the depositing of layers over layers of the sediments and the pressure of sea water. So sedimentary rocks are formed due to the depositions, okay, that occur. Continuous deposition occurs and there is a lot of pressure that is being amounting in the sea water. Now children, besides these natural depositions, we also have man-made depositions done in the oceans, and that is very, very hazardous or very dangerous to not only the aquatic animals and plants but also to humans. So some human induced material is also found here. You can see in the picture we have so much of things, man-made waste that is being put into or dumped into the oceans. The first one is a solid waste. It may be plastic, paper, bags, anything. Okay, we can see it floating on the ocean. And the second one is the radioactive waste. That is all the nuclear waste that is being dumped into the oceans, which is very, very dangerous to the aquatic animals. So these kind of sewage, okay, there are many other waste that is being dumped into the ocean. It may be sewage water, okay, that is a dirty water, then the solid waste, radioactive materials, waste chemical, plastics, etc. So these waste proves hazardous, okay, they are dangerous to the hydrosphere, to the water and the living organisms living in it. So these materials are extremely and very, very harmful to the marine life and the environment, because we are a life cycle, right? We depend on each other. We are chains. like the one animal eats the other, it eats the plants, we eat the animals, the aquatic animals. So because of which it is a chain. So it is not only very dangerous to the marine life but also to the entire environment. So though the polluting components are less, their nuisance value is more. So it may seem that there is more ocean, but at the number of speed that we are polluting the water by dumping all these things, it is very, very dangerous to all the animals. And one day it will not be far where all the aquatic animals will be dying out, and because of which even we will be suffering because of it. Now children, how do you understand what is mean sea level? Now the elevation or the depth of any place, okay, the height or the depth of any place is measured from the sea level. Okay, most of the times you might have heard that this mountain is above the sea level or below the sea level. So how do you measure it? So the average of the highest high tides, okay, the high tides that we have, and the low tides is considered as the sea level. So in high tides what happens? The water comes above, okay, it comes ahead, and in the low tides the water goes far behind. Now this is considered as the sea level. This average is taken to be zero, and altitudes or depths are measured and shown in positive or negative values. For example, we have the Mount Everest, okay, that is 8,848 meters high, that is from the sea level. So from the sea level 0, we counted from there till the highest peak of Mount Everest. So that is called as the above the sea level, that is 8,848 meters high. Whereas if we want to measure the Mariana Trench, that is under the water, so how do we measure it? We measure it from the sea level, okay, till where the water is, and we go deep down into the trench till wherever it is measuring. We can see that in the picture. So the Mariana Trench is minus 11,034 meters, okay. So whereas the Mount Everest is 8,000, it is in the positive because it is above the water, whereas a Mariana Trench is below, underneath the water or the ground. Now children, for survey purpose in India, the height of sea level at Chennai is considered to be 0, and the elevation of any place in India is measured with the reference to the 0 that is considered in Chennai. Now children, this is a map, okay, where we have, the different type of landforms that are there under the water. Now children, we have a question that is asked. From the map of the ocean floor, okay, we can see the ocean floor, some of it is visible. So identify the ocean. Now looking at the picture itself, we can see that the country India is visible. So the ocean that is visible to us is the Indian Ocean, okay. So the ocean that we can see below the country India is the Indian Ocean. Next is, can you identify and name the submerged landforms shown in the diagram? So if you see, we can see some of the lands that are under the water. So the first one is the island we can see here. Okay, we can see the island here. That is the top part of a mountain that is under the water. Okay, and next we can see the submerged mountains. Okay, we have the mountains that are there under the water, but for us on top we can see it as just one simple line here, but that is not it children. It is the mountains that are under the water. Okay, it is submerged into the water. Next is, which region would be ideal for fishing and why? So children, the region near Madagascar island would be ideal for fishing. It is somewhere near the African continent. Okay, somewhere near here. That is a continental shelf. So Madagascar island has a shallow continental shelf. The warm water and the cold water that is coming from the north and from the south, okay, meet near the continental shelf. That makes Madagascar to be, good for fishing. So children, in the next picture, you can see the picture of the different rocks, the ocean floor. Okay, so what is it? It is the ocean floor that is there from many thousands of years. So while studying the ocean floor, okay, when the geologist or the scientist, when they study the ocean floor, they keep in mind the age of the ocean bed, okay, the bed that is there under the ocean. They keep in mind about it, like how many years old is this ocean floor. So by studying the deposits on the ocean bed, okay, like when it was brought, was it 2 days ago, was it 3 days ago, was it 3 months ago? So they keep in mind about the depositions like the mud, the pebbles that are found in the ocean, or it may also be the clay that is being formed out of the dead material of plants and animals. So it occurred to be the scientists that the deposits at the ocean floor are not older than 200 million years. Okay, so whatever deposits are found in the ocean floor are not older than 200 million years. The maximum age of the rocks on the continents, okay, that are found on the continents is supposed to be 3,200 million years. So it is because the water is continuously moving from one place to another. So that is why the rocks under the water or the deposits that are found under the water are not that old enough. Whereas the landforms that are above the water, okay, are 3,200 million years ago. Because why? Because it is in that place itself. It is not moving from one place to another. That is why it is much older than the deposits that are found under the ocean. Then where have the deposits on the seabed which are older than 200 million years gone? So this made the scientists, okay, so the scientists who are there, they are thinking that how can all the deposits where it has gone, okay, because it is just 200 million years ago, whereas on the land it is 3,200 million years. So this made the scientists think, okay, where it might have gone. They were thinking about, where it might have gone, which part of the world. So then they started the study of the rocks along with the deposits. They started matching the rocks with the deposits that are available there. So this made them realize that the rocks are also not older than 200 million years. Okay, so after they did the study and they did the matching of the deposits and the rocks together, they found out that the rocks and the deposits that are found are not older than 200 million years. So it was, brought to an conclusion that the ocean floor is very young. It is not that old as compared to the Earth's surface. Now, this is accepted, okay, this is just accepted. So this research was then used in the study of the concept of plate tectonics. What are tectonics, children? Tectonic plates are those plates which are responsible for causing earthquakes. You might have heard about it earlier when you might have studied about earthquakes, right? So earthquakes occur because of the different waves that move from one place to another, like the primary waves, the secondary waves, the surface waves. So we have certain plates under the interior, in the interior of the earth. Okay, we learned it in the previous chapter. So these tectonic plates were studied by the scientist or the geologist, okay, by the help of the rocks and the deposits that are found in the ocean floor. So children, here we have now completed with the explanation. Thank you for listening. Take care.